My name is Jenny Freeman. I'm a professor in physiotherapy and rehabilitation, and I'm based at the School of Health Professions within the Faculty of Health and Human Sciences at the University of Plymouth. So multiple sclerosis is a disease of the central nervous system where there's delayed nerve conduction because the insulating sheath of the nerves becomes thinner, and so the electrical signals can't conduct as quickly. And as a result of that, people can get a whole range of symptoms, and some of those key symptoms are problems with movement and with balance. And once people get to the progressive phase of the condition, because it is a progressive condition, then they can experience more and more issues with regard to their mobility and balance, to the extent that about a quarter of all people will be using a wheelchair to some extent. These frames are relatively simple interventions, and they're quite cheap. They only cost about £550. And what they enable somebody to do is to be able to stand in the frame in good position, in a good upright position, but to be supported. When people spend a lot of time sitting down, they can get secondary problems as a result of this. So for example, they can get more muscle weakness because of deconditioning, or they can get pain, as we would have if we spend a lot of time sitting down, or maybe tightness in muscle groups like the front of the thighs or the hips or the back of the legs. And those problems actually can be reversed or managed better if we encourage people to stand up. However, people with severe standing and balance problems find it really difficult to stand up. And so what we did in this study was to explore whether use of something like a standing frame where people were supported to stand up for longer periods was therefore able to address those secondary complications of muscle deconditioning, potential pressure areas, muscle tightness, etc. In this study, which was a randomised controlled study involving 140 people with progressive MS, we allocated people to either receive usual care alone or standing frame plus usual care. And those that were allocated to the standing frame plus usual care received physiotherapy, a tutorial where they were taught how to use this standing frame, and also the carer or the standing assistant, who was usually their wife or husband, was also taught how to help the person to get in and out of the frame. They were then asked to stand for 3 sessions a week for up to 30 minutes, as much as they could, and they could stand more if they wished to. And we assessed them at baseline, and then again at the end of the 20 weeks, and then at 36 follow-up. We looked at their motor function, so we looked at their ability to stand, but also their ability to do other movements like rolling in bed, standing up, maybe transferring into a wheelchair, the kind of movements that are really important to people who are more severely physically disabled. And we measured that alongside other secondary outcomes such as the strength of their muscles, the length of their muscles, their joint range, and also issues such as bladder and bowel function that we thought might have an effect on as well. The results showed that people who received the standing frame intervention showed a statistically significant improvement in their motor function and balance compared to the group that received only the usual care. And that when we looked at the subsection of people who stood for longer in the standing frame, so for the required amount that we suggested, which was those 3 times 30-minute sessions, they actually also made a clinically significant improvement. They made a larger improvement in terms of the functional improvements that they made. We also undertook a cost-effectiveness analysis as part of the randomised controlled trial. So what this means, what the results of this trial mean for people with MS, is that we have definitive evidence of the effectiveness of this intervention, which is a simple intervention that they can utilise within their own homes. It means that therapists and consultants within the NHS will have the evidence that they need in order supporting people within the community to be able to have these standing frames purchased so that they can implement this self-managed intervention together with their carers in their own homes, which can have a really positive effect in terms of their motor function, but also in terms of their quality of life.
I'm John Kendrick, and I took part in the SUM study approximately 3.5 years ago now, I think I started. And it's been a real help to me. I'm not wheelchair bound, thankfully. If we go out, if we go shopping or something, I've got a small mobility scooter that I keep in the back of the car. If we want to do somewhere like walking the dogs or something, I've got an off-road one called a tramper. So I can get around. And the study helped me greatly because 3 years ago my daughter got married. And when I was doing the study, I was determined I wanted to walk her down the aisle. And I did. I managed to do it. And since then, she's given birth to a little girl this January. If I get a back problem, I can do exercises to loosen my back and things. And I use the crutch as well as to do various exercises. And normally I do put weights on my wrists. So it does make a difference. It really does make a difference. I know when I haven't used it. It enables me to still climb the stairs. It enables me to get out to the car with my crutches. It enables me on a Sunday to go to church. Or I get to the door of the church, but it enables me to walk in and get to the aisles. And there's other various things that I go out to do where I would have to get around one way or another. If I was in a wheelchair, I wouldn't do it. So yes, it definitely does help.